The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Hey, what up YouTube fam, it's Dupree aka Darth Hater here with some fresh brand new Star Wars news for you. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also don't forget to check out my last video because it greatly helps out the channel. So let's get into it. So we're gonna go over this interview with Dave Filoni on how Ahsoka brought Anakin back. It was a moment Star Wars fans have been waiting for, the reunion of Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, and her former master, Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen. Who better to direct the episode of Ahsoka than Dave Filoni, who created the title character alongside George Lucas for the animated series The Clone Wars. For Filoni, who also wrote the episode, it was crucial to find a way to please longtime fans while also educating new viewers. Bringing Anakin into Ahsoka was part of that process. He said, "I wanted a way to realize some of those things that I had done in animation and live action beyond the present day versions of the characters of Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine, who are older." Filoni says of the animated Star Wars characters who were brought to life in the series. He said, "So in my mind, bringing Anakin back was something to give context to the character of Ahsoka. If you had never seen Clone Wars, how do I give you that context? And so having her confront her mentor, for the average person turning into understanding her mentor was Darth Vader, which is a very big deal, made a lot of narrative sense. But then also, of course, the fan in me was thinking this would be really cool." So a little backstory for the uninitiated: a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi Knight, is given an apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, during the Republic's fight against the Separatist alliance known as the Clone Wars. Throughout the 7-season animated series, Ahsoka studies under Anakin as a Jedi Padawan, gets betrayed, leaves the Jedi Order, and then ultimately escapes Order 66, which is the directive given by Emperor Palpatine to kill all the Jedi. Ahsoka turns up in another animated series, Star Wars Rebels, before jumping into live action first in The Mandalorian and her own series. The Shadow Warrior episode has widely been praised by Star Wars fan base community, a community known for being some of the franchise's harshest critics, and featured the live action recreations of 2 battle sequences from the Clone Wars, showing a much younger Ahsoka played by Ariana Greenblatt fighting alongside Anakin before he later turned to the dark side. The episode also gave Christensen and Dawson the opportunity to engage in a lightsaber battle in the World Between Worlds, which was first introduced in the animated series Rebels, not to mention the first live-action appearance of beloved clone Captain Rex. At the end of the day, it's all the same imagination, it's all from the same love of Star Wars and adventure. When asked about the differences between directing the animation and live action, he said, "In live action, though it's all going to happen right in front of you in the moment, you can do a lot digitally later, but you have to prepare to capture that moment. And in animation, you can control every pose, posture, blink, expression, everything. If I don't like it that way, something's going. I can redo it. I can get in there gradually and redraw it here. It's trusting people to become the thing and create the moment, which is a bit different." Though Filoni and Christensen had long talked about working together, Filoni wanted Anakin's appearance to be organic and not self-serving. He said, "Maybe I'm just doing this because I'm going to enjoy watching Anakin talk to Ahsoka with the clones running around of his concerns. But I felt though there were good times that I was really digging it and the fans would too." On a more technical level, the episode featured Ahsoka underwater, a challenge given the fact that Dawson is in a head prosthetic and communicating with a giant space whale-like creature called Purgle, while standing on the wing of her starship, which is aloft. Filoni also was conscious of trying to make sure the more out there elements didn't take the viewer out of the story. He said, "All the technical details that this team had, I had confidence in them that they could overcome anything, and I was doing was really clear what I was describing. Selling the audience on giant space whales is kind of tricky. It can be a little far out there, but I wanted it to feel naturalistic, real, and believable to make it seem like a creature was actually floating in front of Dawson. The team set up 5 gigantic fans to create the effect of strong winds and drilled a piece of wood behind her to keep her foot from being blown back off the stage. Another concern was that the episode itself is a bit abstract along with other elements. It also featured the world between worlds, first introduced in the animated series Rebels as a mythical realm accessible only to Force users that exists between time and space. Filoni worked closely with cinematographer Quinn Tran to stage and advance the scene that found Anakin engaged in a lightsaber duel. What we are seeing is very impressionistic battles. How do you portray that, he says, with the approach of recreating this world. We did a lot of extensive previs on it, just like how I would imagine when we got there they were filming, we really knew what we were trying to capture. Their lighting in the more abstract battle scenes was going to play a major role of composition, so the lighting and the tonality of it had to be clear. And I wanted to know with a lot of certainty that all the exterior and environmental influences was going to work, so I could really on the day focus on the performance and the actors. What's unique about Anakin is Christensen's originated the character in the prequels, but Filoni fleshed out part of his life between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith to a degree that his turn to the dark side is given more context and foreshadowing more significant. But how did Filoni help Christensen reconcile the live action and animated version of the characters? He said, "What Hayden and I share is we were both instructed and taught by George. And so the view of Anakin that I have is based on my collaborations with George Lucas when I worked with the Clone Wars. I was fortunate that we had the time to tell the story of Anakin Skywalker and flesh it out in a way that he really could be a hero, and then I imagine as a kid in the movies. You get a little bit of that in the prequels, but because he's descending into the dark side, you don't get it in a major way. For Hayden, he really liked what we done in the Clone Wars, and we would talk about it. So we really had a common frame of reference for how this character would be and kind of open him up. Jedi aren't supposed to form emotional attachments, but Anakin does end up developing a bond with Ahsoka in kind of a brotherly sort of way. But he can also let go of his attachments if he sees that Ahsoka is self-sufficient, that she can defend herself, which is ultimately the reason that Anakin shows up in Ahsoka, to teach her that lesson. There's no question to me that he would have just been an embodiment of his character. He invented it. I took it and did a version in animation. I never thought of it as different. I thought it's just Anakin. And so the only thing I had to give him was the confidence that it is, and that's how it is all the same." When asked if Christensen will appear in season 2, which is currently in the process of writing, for Filoni, another big challenge lay in the casting of iconic characters, he notes, praising Dawson and Greenblatt for portraying Ahsoka at two very different stages of her life, along with the rest of the Ahsoka cast who brought numerous Rebel characters to life. The biggest challenge was finding the right people. You write these scenes, you write the characters and go, gosh, somebody's got to play this. I had a great version of his character animation. The voice actors were phenomenal, bringing such life and dimension to every one of them. But in Ahsoka, it's got to be different. It's got to be a different thing, and someone has to embody it in a different way. Will the audience accept that? Will they accept the difference? Do they need to sound like them? Do they need to look like them? What's the measure of that? When you have these incredible talented people, there's a level of trust and you let go of things. It's a great experience to get to be there and a part of it and watch it, and it's released from your hands. It becomes something else. It becomes alive in a way because everybody on set is doing their best to take it and make it alive, and that's a wonderful thing. Filoni is also quick to credit his creative team, many of whom he's worked for 2 decades. He said, "I would not be doing what I'm doing without them. I couldn't have told any great stories without them. It makes me sad sometimes that they're not all here with me because they're such a part of it. But you remember those people, they're important to your process, they're important to your stories. You make them part of it. They got to come to set and you get so excited and are happy and they're doing great things." Filoni also credits his mentor, Lucas, for helping him make the jump to live action. He said, "I watched these things that I've watched since I was a kid or drawn in animation for years jump to life, and I wouldn't have been doing it if it wasn't for George. If George hadn't inspired me while working on the Clone Wars to say, live action could be something that I could do, and I could challenge myself, perhaps find that in me because I wasn't trained in doing that. If there was any training I had, it was with working with him." Well, it was a great interview, and it does show some clear insight into season 2. I kind of think we're gonna get Anakin in season 2, that last shot of Anakin watching over Ahsoka and Sabine, or I should say his Force Ghost, kind of just tells you right there. I think Dave Filoni is going to give Anakin and his Force Ghost the ending that we needed, because we didn't really get too much, if anything at all, of Anakin in the sequel trilogy, aside from him talking to Rey at the very end of Rise of Skywalker. So I think Dave is going to give us something with that, and obviously something with Luke, I'm assuming later on. There's going to be, I can kind of feel it. As for his thoughts about the characters, I always thought about that, how they do that jump from animation to live action. The whole story with Anakin and Ahsoka was created in the Clone Wars, fleshed out very well, and then fleshed out very well by the voice actors, and then to have the live action versions of them. First off, Hayden Christensen coming back as Anakin Skywalker and Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Hayden already did this character. He is the base for this character because he's, Anakin from the prequels. And then you have Rosario Dawson coming in and taking over from Ashley Eckstein as the voice. And at the same time, these actors have, have chemistry. They've worked before in other projects. And to see the live action Clone Wars, that was a treat. That was one of the most special moments from the Ahsoka series. It was just nice to see live action clones running around, a young Clone Wars version of Anakin and Ahsoka, and then Captain Rex in live action. I know it brought a tear to a lot of Star Wars fans' eyes. The world between worlds has a lot of possibilities, and I think we're just kind of scratching the surface when it comes to that, especially with Ahsoka Season 2. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this interview. Let me know what you guys are expected to see from Ahsoka Season 2 coming forward. Do you think we're going to get more Clone Wars? Do you think we're going to get more Anakin and Ahsoka? But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, if you guys like this video, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications for all my latest videos. That would be great. Anyway, guys, take care. See you in the next one. May the Force be with you. Bye.